طيب بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. Can you classify how many, if you want you to categorize the animals, to how many category you will categorize them? There is, how many group of animals exist?
There are many. I can probably name
30 categories.
I can probably name 3.
30 animals?
No, I just said 30. Categories, animals.
How many categories?
I don't know how many.
If you want to categorize the animals. Okay, Bazigha. To how many categories we have for animals? If I said, please categorize the animals. Let's see Bazigha. Bazigha. طيب. Animals on land, animals in sea. Two categories. Animals who is in sea, lives in sea, and animals on land. طيب. How about you, Rimza? Say that again. Mammals. Non-mammals. Good. Excellent. That's the way they categorize them. 2 category. Sister Asma online. Fatima. Harvest. Herbius. And what is that? Carnivores. And they eat meats and they eat grass. Excellent. What else? What does that mean? Excellent. What else? Domestic animals and wild animals. That's right? Okay. Excellent, Asma. طيب. See, how many categories we have?
Everybody put them in 2. So
2. Somebody might say animals in the sea, animals in the land, and birds, insects, whatever people will try to categorize. What I'm trying to say here, or before that, let's see, Nadima, how many categories of humans we have? Can you categorize humans? To how many categories? How about you, Suhair? Yes, Nadima.
I mean, based on different,
Whatever category you want to, it's up to you.
the Oriental, the African American, the Black, and the Asians. That's it.
She categorized them to African and Asian and Americans, Europeans. Okay. Now, Orientals, Caucasian, Black, this is a different way of categorizing. Other than Europeans, Africans, Asian, Australian, Americans.
The way they look,
So which way you want to do it? By their race, so Caucasian, Black, Orientals, Arab, okay? Indians, that's the way you want to categorize them. That's fine. So how many? 4, 5? Polynesian, if we can say that, or people live in the tropical islands, what do they call them? Here we have, Aliyah said, male and female. Easiest way to do it. What else? Humans. Believers and disbelievers. Mu'min, kafir, munafiq, hypocrites. What else? Humans, knowledgeable people, ignorant people. Okay? Humans can be categorized to children and adults. Infants. Okay. See, it's the same thing. Yeah, we did not talk about animals or birds. We're talking about humans. And we categorize them in different categories. And each one of us is correct, that's right. When we categorize the animals, we categorize them different categories. And each one of you was absolutely correct in the way he or she categorized the animals. Why? Because each one of you have categorized this topic from one perspective. So I looked at the belief that this human being has. If he has a belief, we call him a believer. If he doesn't have a belief or faith, we call him disbeliever. If he appears something and hides something else, we call him hypocrite. I look at their gender. That's why I divide them to male and female. When it comes to animals, I look to the place that they're interacting with humans. So I divided them to domestic and wild. And I look at where they live, what they eat, how they will reproduce. So all these, the way they've been created, I look at the color of humans, the feature of the humans. So basically everybody categorize this subject from different perspective. This is what I call a common sense. That's right. A common knowledge. Can anybody fight over that and say, you know what, your classification or the way you categorize them wrong? Unless it doesn't make sense. Like I tell you, I can categorize humans to two categories. Females and disbelievers. Doesn't make sense, that's right. That's wrong. Because there is no connection. You see what I'm saying? So we said it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. طيب. Why I'm saying that? To share with you today an important point related to categorize things. That we can categorize any subject in so many different categories based on different perspectives. That's why al-ulama, the scholars, when they try to categorize at-tawheed, they looked at the tawheed from different perspectives. A group of scholars looked at the language that had been used to establish the tawheed, which language? Arabic language, that's right. Which is the language of Al-Quran, the language of the Quran. Okay? So based on this, the nature of this language, they look at the language of the Arabic language, the Quran, and they found the Quran can be divided to two main categories. And the Arabic language actually has two main pillars. If you study Arabic, they tell you that the Arabic language based on two pillars. Something it's called khabar and something it's called insha. Have you ever heard this before? Anybody heard this word before? Khabar and insha. I want you to write this. Khabar and insha. This is the two main pillars that the Arabic language based on. What is khabar? Al-khabar, it is any sentences which is and can judge it by saying is it truth or not truth. Any sentences which I can say this is truth or not truth. Regardless who said it. Regardless who said it. He's truthful or not truthful. I don't care who said it. But that sentence, the key to know if it's khabar or insha, see, can I say this sentence is truth or false? Give you an example. Khalil in the classroom. Can I say this is true or false? Yes, I can say this false. And I can say this is true. That's right. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Is it khabar or not? Khabar, because this sentence I can say true or false. That's right. Regardless if it's the meaning truth or not. I mean the word itself. I can describe by the word truth or I can describe by the word false. طيب. To make it more clear, al-insha, it's any sentences that you cannot describe it with false or truth. For example, if I said, did you read your book? False. It doesn't make sense. That's right. Can you say false or true? Huh? No. I said, read your book. False. True. No. It's an order. You can't say that. You see what I'm saying? So can anybody give me examples in Arabic? Let's apply this. What's the most simple Arabic word that you know? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. صدق. That's right. That's information, truth. طيب. Say, أُعْبُدُ اللَّهِ. What that means? Worship Allah. Truth or false? It's an order. You can't say that. صدق ولا كذب? No. Did this a question? Can you say truth or false? No. Okay. So, based on this, from this perspective, they found that at-tawheed can be khabar and can be insha. What is at-tawheed al-khabari? They call it at-tawheed al-khabari, the khabar. Which one? Give you an example. Allah created the heavens and the earth. Which category? Khabar or insha? Khabar. Allah is Ar-Rahman. Khabar. طيب. Allah is the sustainer. Khabar. طيب. Worship Allah. Insha. Don't commit shirk. Insha. That's right? Okay. Only make sujood to Allah. Make sujood to Allah only. Insha. Because it's an order. Don't make sujood to other than Allah. Don't pray to the dead ones. It's insha. Forbidding you from doing this. طيب. So everything related to Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, Allah's Lordship, falls under which category? Back there? Shama. Khabar, because everything about Rububiyyah is Allah is sustainer, Allah is the Lord, the Creator. It's khabar. But what about Allah's names and attributes? Khabar, it's information. Okay? But what about Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah, al-Ibadah? Worshipping Allah alone. Do and don't do. Insha. That's why some scholar, and that's the most common categories among the early Muslim scholars. They categorize at-Tawheed to khabar and insha. They call it at-Tawheed al-Khabari and at-Tawheed al-Insha'i. Is that clear? Clear? Can I move forward to the next point? Other scholars looked into at-Tawheed from different perspectives. So the first people looked into the language that this Tawheed was established with, which is the language of the Quran, which is Arabic language. Arabic language divided to khabar and insha. The other scholars said, no. We will see what the at-Tawheed required from you. If it tawheed required from you to acknowledge and to be informed and to believe in and to know, we call this التوحيد المعرفة والإثبات, which it means the tawheed of knowing Allah and believing in this information that Allah have told us about Himself. And if the tawheed required from you to obey, to listen, and this tawheed is about ordering you to do things, they call this tawheed al-talab, the tawheed of talab, which it means orders. Let's see who is among you can tell me in which kind of tawheed al-rububiyyah will falls, if we categorize into those two tawheeds. Tawheed al-ma'rifah wal-ithbat, knowing and believing in, and the other one, tawheed al-talab, the tawheed which is ordering you to do certain obligations. Al-ma'rifah wal-ithbat, ma'rifah, knowing. The first category, because all what you need to believe in some information, which is, what is Allah's names, what is Allah's attributes, that Allah is the creator, Allah is this, Allah is that. That's all what you need to do. You see what I'm saying? But on the other hand, when it comes to do this and don't do that, it will go to the other category. So they looked into what? Or to what the tawheed required. If it required understanding and acknowledging and believing in, that's one category. If it required actions, that's another category. So that's why you will find sometimes ulama said توحيد المعرفة والإثبات and توحيد القصد والطلب. طيب. Another group of scholars said we will look into the tawheed itself. If it's directly related to Allah or it's directly related to the humans, what that means. If it's directly related to Allah, يعني التوحيد is about all, the main core of it, it's about Allah, which is basically knowing Him, believing in Him. It is something related to Him, describing Him more than me as a believer. They said, we call this Tawheedullah bi'af'alih. The Tawheedullah by His actions, by Allah's actions. So they said, Rububiyyah is about what? What the whole Rububiyyah is about? That Allah create, Allah sustain, Allah control, and Allah provide. This is the whole thing. This Tawheed al-Rububiyyah is. Okay? So, this four things that related to Allah or to me, that's His action. He sustains, He creates. That's right? So they said, Tawheedullahi bi-af'alih. Tawheedullah by His action. That means I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that His actions is the most perfect. What is His actions represent? Ar-Rububiyyah. And also His names and attributes belong directly to Him. That Allah comes, Allah talks, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes, Allah gives, Allah listen, Allah forgive, Allah put His mercy on you, Allah punish. That's right? So that also they said Tawheed al-Asma al-Sifat related to His actions, Himself. So they call this Tawheedullahi bi-af'alih. On the other hand, they said, Tawheed, if it's directly related to humans, we call it Tawheedullah bi-af'al al-ibad. Tawheedullah by the humans' actions. You pray alone to Allah. You make sujood to Allah only. You give full obedience to Allah only. You give the complete love and fear to Allah only. So these actions related to whom? To the servant. That's right. So that's why we call it, it is Tawheedullah bi af'al al-ibad. So those scholars looked into another perspective. Where is the Tawheed directly related to? Is that clear? Very clear? I think it's very easy. In the internet. Clear, everybody? This clear? Type. Then, another scholars look into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness. And they said we can classify His greatness, magnitude, to 3 categories. Tawheedul ilahiyya, which is being ilah, being the one who deserves to be worshipped. And being Rabb. You're not going to find this in the book. And being Rabb, which it means, you're not going to find it the way I'm saying it. You're going to find some information about what I'm saying. But if you understand what I'm saying clearly, you will understand the sequence of what the author said, or in any other book. Then they look at Allah's lordship, that He creates, He sustains, He provides, He controls. Okay? So, His existence, they call this lordship, rububiyyah. Then they look at the greatness of His names and attributes, and they classify this to 3 categories. To 3 categories. Which is the third one, Tawheedul Asma'i was Sifat. There is any difference between those who classify Tawheed to 2 categories and 3 categories? No. طيب. Zahra. Is that right? Yeah. Salma. Where's Zahra? Yeah, Zahra. Somebody came to you, tell you, do you know, Zahra, that the only one who categorized Tawheed to 3 categories is the Wahhabis? Only Wahhabis do that. It's not exist in the... Abu Hanifa did not categorize Tawheed to 3 categories. Abu Malik, he never did. Shafi'i never did. Imam Ahmad himself never did. Only Wahhabi did that. And this is related to the main core of our Islamic belief, to categorize the Tawheed. What do you think? We should reject that. Just this Waleed come and teach you something and you just buy it? No, you have to be critical. Yeah, what do you think? These 3 categories, somebody just invented in 1200 Hijri? Okay, can you ask me the same question? You ask me the same question. Let's see. No, ask me the same question I just asked you. Imagine that you just, Sheikh Waleed, what you just, the 3 categories invented by, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead. Yes. It is. Just for the sake of arguing. So what's the problem, Zahra? Question. Did the scholars before the Wahhabis, or before Ibn Taymiyyah, whomever you want to name it, categorize Tawheed to 2 categories? Khabari and Insha'i, and they did? Okay. There is any difference between the 3 categories and the 2 categories? Huh? It's like exactly if I tell you, humans can be categorized to mu'min and kafir. And somebody else said, no, ya akhi, Al-Quran categorized them to mu'min and kafir and hypocrites. I said, so no contradiction. Al-Quran classified them to this, but I mean kafir include the hypocrites. There is no contradiction between us. I'm not forced to follow only one category. The question is, do you have a problem with these 3 categories? I don't care who make these categories. What is your problem with these 3 categories? You see how the argument goes? I don't mind whoever, يعني, if it Waleed or Muhammad or Ahmad or Ibn Taymiyyah or whomever categorize it. Categorizing it makes sense or not? There is a problem with this or not? You see what I'm saying? That's, by the way, it's not the Wahhabi who invented this, but just for the sake of arguing. They claim that Ibn Taymiyyah is the first one who did. But even though if he did that, these 3 meanings are clearly mentioned in Quran and Sunnah. Clearly mentioned in the statements of the early Muslim scholars, but not necessarily in the form of categories. Okay, so the problem is not with categorizing it. The problem comes when people make a category which doesn't make any sense. Like, for example, Sufis categorize Tawheed to Tawheed al-Amma wa Tawheed al-Khassa. The Tawheed of Awam, public, and Tawheed al-Khawas, special, elite. Tawheed al-Awam is salat and to pray to Allah, to worship Allah, all these things, which is every Muslim knows. Tawheed al-Khawas is really to know the nature of Allah, which is Rububiyyah and Asma al-Sifat. Which is, we believe, Ahl Sunnah, totally the opposite. That the first step is to know that Allah exists, provider, creator. Then you go to worship Him with complete love and obedience, submission. They are the opposite. They don't care about the worshipping. They said that you reach to a level that you don't need to worship Allah anymore even. At least some extreme group of them. طيب. Different perspectives. Excellent. طيب, I hope this is clear. طيب, let's see what's the relationship between the 3 categories of Tawheed. I make it 3 because it's easier to remember. What's the relationship between them? Usually there is a relationship between things. And this relationship can you see my hands? Back there? Okay. Remember, this is one situation. This way. Which it means when 2 things are, what are, online, are, meeting, together, not yet, not the word I want. Together, no, not together, not related. Associate, no. Pearl, no. Join, no. What? On your unity, no. Try. United, no. Same. They are identical, the same, typicals. Okay? They are typical. Same. That's the first relationship between 2 things. That they are similar to each other. Okay? So this one is exactly this one. The other relation. Or included, part of. It's part of the other one. Okay? And the third one, which is not necessarily this situation represented 100%, but just to keep it in your mind. Necessitate the other one. So it's either similar, or include, or necessitate. طيب. 3 walls and floor and roof. What's the relation between this and a room? Equal, Suhair. Excellent. Equal. What's the room? 4 walls, roof, and floor. I said 4. Did I say 3? Sorry. It's a room with 3 walls. 4 walls, and floor, and roof. Floor and roof. Okay. It's confusing you. طيب. It's identical with the room. That's right? طيب. What's the relationship between the roof and the room? Part of the room. That's right? What's the relationship between the room and the painter? The builder. I said 3 words. Either similar, either builder is the same as the room, or part of the room, or the room necessitate the existence of a builder. That painted wall necessitates somebody who painted it. طيب. Always necessitate, it means that thing necessitates another thing. That other thing is not part of the first one. It is separate from it. If it's part of it, it will be included. In Arabic words, the equal words for this in Arabic, necessitate, it called in Arabic, luzum. Luzum, yalzam. Necessitate. The other one is include, which it means tadammun. 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 Let me write this for you. Oops. تضمن. Let me write it in the easy way. تضمن. The previous one was لزوم or اللزوم. التضمن. And the last one, التطابق or تطابق. تطابق. طيب. Which it means same. طيب. Sheikh Isam Rajab, you, the tables, the chairs, this online system, Khalil and Yahya, and myself, what's the relationship between all of us and AREES Institute? We are AREES Institute. There's anything other than us? The students, the instructors, the building, and the system that we use, and the technical people who run the show. Is there anything else? That's AREES Institute. So it is same, identical. What about Sheikh Islam and AREES Institute? Typical? No, he's part. Included. He's part of AREES Institute. He's not AREES Institute. Waleed, he's part. He's an instructor. He's part of it. So AREES include Waleed. That's right? That's right? AREES made of several elements. One of them, the instructors. Okay? طيب. How about Microsoft? Necessitate. To necessitate the existence of using this computer to have a Microsoft program. It's not part of AREES Institute, but you need it to. There is a relationship between you and this program which is necessary delivering the message to people. That's right? Is it clear? More examples? Is the concept clear? It's a common sense. Is that clear? 100%? Khalil? Can you differentiate between what necessary and what is included and what is typical, identical? Good. Salma? Clear? Ramza? Clear? طيب. Juhi, clear?
What are these three things again? The three things you mentioned, singular, part of necessary, what is that? Is it categorizing?
This is the relationship between any two things. If there is a relationship between two things, it has to be one of these three. If there is a relationship between any two things, or any multiple things, it has to be either one of these. Otherwise, there is no relationship at all. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, there is no relationship. Cow and water. طيب. You and your parents. Your exist necessitate the existence of your parents. You're never going to be here if you don't have a parents. That's right? You're not part of your parents. You are not your parents. But you are the result of them being together. طيب. This is to understand the relationship between the categories of Tawheed. Who can tell me? Ar-Rububiyyah. What's Ar-Rububiyyah based on? Allah creator, control, sustain, and provide. طيب. Who can tell me? What's the relationship between Rububiyyah and Lordship? Worshipping Allah alone. Part of. So if you believe Allah creator, Allah sustainer, Allah provider, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exist and in control, that include that you worshipping Allah? How's that? How's that part of that? It's four things. Where's worshipping? It's not one of the four things. See, she starts using another word. Required. What required means? Necessitate. If you believe that He's the creator, if you believe He is the sustainer, if you believe the one who is control your life and your death and everything around you, He's the one who sustain and provide and create and owns. If you believe in that, that necessitates what? That you worship Him alone. That will lead you to worship Him. You see? Otherwise, you will be contradicting yourself. You worshiping the one who did not create you, who did not provide you, who's not taking care of you? That's impossible. So Tawheed al-Rububiyyah what? Necessitate Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah. طيب. necessitate. طيب. Tawheed al-Ilahiyyah. طيب. Worshipping the creator, the sustainer, the provider. Worshipping the Lord of the mankind. Worshipping the one who created me and sustained me and he provided to me and all this. What's the relationship between this category and al-Rububiyyah? Without looking to the book, just think. Let's see Suhair. Juhi. Same? How come if it's the same, is Rububiyyah include worshipping Allah? So it cannot be the same. Part of. Say, you worship, back there please. The worship, the sustainer, you worship the creator, you worship the one who gave you control your life and your death. So you have here 5 things. All these 4, and add to it the worshipping. So that means uluhiyyah include rububiyyah. You cannot be worshipping the one who didn't create you. The tawheed of ilahiyyah, it means that you worship Allah, the one who created you. You worship Allah, the one who provides you, taking care of you. So al-uluhiyyah include al-rububiyyah. That's why if you make al-ilahiyyah, you already have al-rububiyyah. Have you ever heard or seen somebody worship Allah and he doesn't believe that He's the creator? It does not exist. But have you seen somebody believes that Allah is the creator, but he doesn't or she doesn't worship Allah? Yes. The kuffar of Quraysh, they used to believe Allah is the creator. The Christians believe Allah is the creator. But not necessarily they worship Him alone. With me, Khalil? طيب. Tough one now coming. What about the asma wa sifat? And related to al-rububiyyah. Same. So part of al-rububiyyah that Allah is above His throne. Part of rububiyyah that Allah has hand. Part of rububiyyah that Allah comes in the day of judgment. Part. Which one is part of which one? Asma al-Sifat, part of al-Rububiyyah? Rububiyyah is part of al-Asma al-Sifat. If you believe in Allah's names and attributes, that will include believing in His Lordship. Because part of al-Asma are the Sifat that He creates, He sustains, He provides, He controls. That's right? Shema, you follow me? Okay. We'll make it clear now. More. طيب. How about al-uluhiyyah? Allah's names and attributes and al-uluhiyyah. Necessitate. Excellent. Because if you believe in His greatness and His great names and attributes, that necessitate that you worship Him. If you realize how great He is, that will necessitate that you worship Him. Because worshipping is my actions, something I do as a human. And Allah's names and attributes belong to Him. Okay? Is that clear? Is that clear? طيب. Shema. Let's see. What is الربوبية? What's توحيد الربوبية? Allah Lordship, what that means? Can create, sustain, provides, He controls. He controls means He gives lives, death, or what happened in the universe by His order. That's right? Right. What is ilahiyya, tawhid al-uluhiyya? To worship Allah. You as a human, to worship Allah alone. Tawheed means singling. Okay. It means we single that Allah is the only one who provide, the only one who sustain, the only one who create. Okay. So the only one who deserves to be worshipped. Al-Asma al-Sifat, He's the only one has the great name, the greatest name and complete meanings of the names and the attributes that He describes Himself with it. That's right? Right. So, if I worship Allah, and I believe that I'm worshipping the one who created me, the one who provides me, that means I'm automatically, by default, I believe that He's the creator. Because that part of this. Okay? So that's why we said uluhiyya include rububiyyah. Yani there is nothing in rububiyyah, you will not find it in ilahiyya. If you worship Allah, that means you worship Him because what? Because you know already that He is the sustainer, He is the provider, He is the creator, He is the one who controls everything. That's why you pray to Him, you make dua to Him, you ask Him, you donate and you seek His reward and you fear His punishment. He's the one in control. And that's why we said al-rububiyyah necessitate al-ilahiyyah. It will lead to. So al-rububiyyah, it's like introduction, leads you to worship Allah. And Allah's names and attributes should also lead you to worship Allah. And Allah's names and attributes include al-rububiyyah. Include al-rububiyyah. طيب. Some scholars said, since one of Allah's names and attributes that He's the one who should be worshipped, which is Al-Ilah, that He beloved, Al-Mahbub, Al-Wadud, and this is part of Uluhiyyah. They said, Al-Rububiyyah and Al-Uluhiyyah, Al-Uluhiyyah is the same as Al-Asma al-Sifat. Yani everything in Allah's names and attributes, it will represent either His Lordship or His worship. And I don't agree with that, even though you find it in your book, and you will find it in so many books, that they will tell you that it's the relationship tamathul, tatabuq. It's the same. I disagree with that. Because in Allah's names and attributes, things has nothing to do with rububiyyah or uluhiyyah. Unless we said that ar-rububiyyah include His existence the way He is. So that will include His hands and His face being above the throne. So all these things will be part of ar-rububiyyah. In this case, ar-rububiyyah and al-uluhiyyah together will equal al-asma wal-sifat. Let's do advance. Now, I think it's clear. طيب. What I want you to understand what I just said clearly, which is al-asma wal-sifat necessitate worshipping Allah. Al-rububiyyah necessitate worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why beautifully, read with me Surah 2, verse 21 and 22. Open your book 61. Okay. Khalil, read the translation. I will read the one in Arabic. يا أيها الناس اعبدوا ربكم الذي خلقكم وَالَّذِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فِرَاشًا وَالسَّمَاءَ بِنَاءً وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون. Let's read the translation.
O mankind, worship your Lord who created you and those before you so that you may achieve taqwa, who has made the earth a resting place for you, the sky a canopy, and sent down the rain from the sky, bringing out by its crops and fruits as provision for you. So do not set up rivals with Allah when you know full well.
طيب. Let's see. O mankind, worship your Lord. This is rububiyyah or ilahiyah? Ilahiyah. Worship Allah, tawheed al-uluhiyyah. How Allah want to invite us to worship Him alone? How Allah will prove this case? Listen. Who created you? Because that necessitates that. See how Al-Quran? So if He created you, that you may achieve what? Taqwa. Why you achieve taqwa? Because realizing that He is the creator. Taqwa is rububiyyah or ilahiyah? What's taqwa? Worshipping Allah. Don't do the haram and do the halal and do what Allah ordered you to do. So this is uluhiyyah again. Or ilahiyya in either way. طيب. So again Allah emphasizes on tawheed al-ilahiyya by saying taqwa. Why to achieve taqwa? One more reason for you besides He created you. Then He made the earth resting place for you. And He talked about the heavens and how He have sent down rains and how He provide you with thamarat, provision for you. Okay? What's the whole point in the end? فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا. So do not set up what? Rivals, gods, to worship beside Allah. This is uluhiyyah or rububiyyah? The end part. The last part. Uluhiyyah. Yani don't take partner with Allah. Don't worship other with Allah. See? فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا. Don't take partner with Allah. That's why I wish that He didn't skip that. What's between parentheses. In your worship. Because that's the meaning. Translation, one of the problems with many translations in the Quran, that they try to go word by word. But sometimes you miss the meaning. When you read in Arabic, it's obvious that this is in His worship. So, see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prove or made the case that it is, you must worship Allah by what? What's the intro that He used to prove that? Establishing what? Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. That's why Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Asma' al-Sifat, I can call it the foundation that you have to build on and to use to call people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Is that clear? I want you, when you read Al-Quran, you will find almost every single verse talking about Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put as an intro for it, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah or al-Asma' al-Sifat. Every single time in Quran. Almost. Can you think of any other example? Can you think of any other example? Let me see if I have anything here extra about this. I can't hear you. Or I can't read anything. I don't see anything. Yeah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to worship Him alone by establishing Tawheed al-Rububiyyah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was talking to Sayyidina Musa in Surah Taha. إِنَّنِي أَنَا اللَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنَا فَاعْبُدْنِي وَأَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ وَذِكْرِي.
But how this will support what we're talking about?
We told him first that he is Allah. That there is no Allah but him. And he ordered him to pray to him.
Yeah, but this will not prove that it will not give Tawheed al-Rububiyyah first. Just say, worship me alone. That's uluhiyyah, pure uluhiyyah. What we need example like what I just said. Allah show His Lordship to reach to establish His worship. Anybody has a mushaf? Just كده blindly, open and look. How about if we do this home? We'll break now? Okay. Try to do that at home. Everybody has wird. You know what's wird? Wird. You don't have word from Quran every day to read? Word. Word, it means amount of verses that you have to read every day. Every Muslim should have word. Every Muslim. If you don't have something to, every Muslim. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, anybody, there is a night comes and he did not read his word from the Quran, at least 10 verses. He is among al-ghafileen. At least 10 verses. You're ghafil. Ghafil, the one who's heedless. Yeah. Word, it means that you have to read every day certain amount of pages. 1 page, 2 pages. It's a daily thing. So your word, when you read it today, when you read your word today, look into what I just said. Try to explore this in the Quran. You will enjoy it so much.